Welcome to the Beyond the Mat podcast, an in-depth talk show discussing exclusively WWE topics.
My name's Rick Boogs, and I came to rock with the Beyond the Mat podcast that is beyond the M-A-T-T podcast. Ah!
All right, it is June 4th, 2022, the night before Hell in a Cell pay-per-view for WWE. Only one Hell in the Cell match at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, but we do have 7 matches now because an additional match was added last night at Smackdown, and we're here to break it all down for you. We'll do a little bit of a quick recap of what happened on SmackDown last night because we were unable to put out a SmackDown review for you guys, and then we will be giving our predictions and a full preview of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, where I myself will be putting up my Beyond the Mat title belt against Kyle and Chris, who are both in a triple threat match with me for the belt. And then if they win, they get it until Money in the Bank. But I've been holding on to it since WrestleMania, and I don't plan on giving it up. Before we get into all that, I want to encourage you guys all to follow us on Twitter at BeyondMattWWE. Also available on all podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, whatever it is, YouTube, all that stuff. And of course, we have a Patreon. $1 is the lowest tier, where you will find everything ad-free. And if you join any tier, we will give you the benefits of the top tier. If you join before July 31st, you'll get merchandise, the opportunity to join us for one of our weekly fix shows, or even a prediction show for one of the premium live events. And we will follow you on Twitter, and many other perks will be available as well. We're going to be continuing to produce content throughout the summer and get bigger and better here. Without further ado, though, I do want to introduce my tag team partner tonight, but I really should say my competitor, because he is Chris, and he's going to be putting his predictions up against mine and try to take the title away from me. How are you doing tonight, Chris?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Night before, we got the PLE, and I'm just excited to get this thing going and hopefully take home that title belt from you this time.
Yeah, I really hope nobody beats me, but I got to tell you, I'm unstoppable. So
yeah. As of late, you have been. I can't lie.
I know, but you never know, man. When they got an odd number of matches, like 7 like this, like it makes it more interesting. Kyle and I actually tied every which way for the last pay-per-view at Backlash. We tied with confidence points and all that stuff. So we're going to end up with a tie-breaking point for whatever the main event match is. The tiebreaker is going to be the bell-to-bell time. So I'll ask you for that at the end, but we'll get to that there, because I had no way to break the tie with me and Kyle. We picked everything exactly. We didn't pick everything exactly the same, but we ended up with the exact same correct matches and the exact same confidence points for them. But before we get into the predictions, man, we did have SmackDown last night. What did you think overall of the show?
I think, it was all right. It wasn't too good. It wasn't too bad. The 6-pack challenge, that was, it was okay. I thought Raquel was going to end up going over again and end up facing Rousey for the title, but I understand why they don't want to do the face versus face as like a big match, I guess, even though we've seen it twice now. But Natty versus Ronda should be interesting. I'm pretty sure they're friends in real life too, so that should be interesting. And then the whole New Day crap, I thought we were going to have an end with the Brawling Brutes or whatever they're called last week, but I guess not. That's continuing. And then it was good to see Madcap back, and I like the change of outfit from him. So
Yeah, I definitely think that Madcap Moss, the presentation of him was awesome coming out of the ambulance like that. He is very generic looking. He kind of looks like, but people say that about Ezekiel. He's generic looking, looks like create a wrestler before you even add anything to him. And I think Madcap kind of looks that way too now, except in a better way. He definitely has that natural look that you sort of know that Vince McMahon likes in the top guys. So he's definitely a guy that can be pushed. I wish he had a different name, not Madcap, not Moss, not anything else, but I don't know what it would be or what it would make sense. But I can tell you, I really appreciate the fact that they changed his character, but they made it part of like the storyline. And they didn't just expect you to forget that that character ever existed. And he came out and explained why he changed into what he was. And, I'm not the hugest fan of his in-ring work, but I think it's pretty good. And I think it's definitely has potential. And I just, having the no holds barred match between him and Corbin coming up, which we'll get into in the predictions. I just want to see the both of them go out there and beat the hell out of each other and, put on the kind of match that they're both capable of. I know Corbin's capable of it. And when you involve weapons and no holds barred, a worker like Madcap should be doing. So that was cool. And then, of course, the women's six-packs challenge, which led to the Natalya being the number one contender after she won that match. A lot of people would say Shayna Baszler should be the person to be feuding with Ronda Rousey. Everybody wants that feud. They know each other from MMA and all this. And I say, why do you think that they have Natalya winning this? They have her winning it so that they can get to Shayna Baszler. So Natalya wins. She's an experienced veteran. I think Raquel is a good person to down the road. I think they want to heat her up more, build her up more with other workers before they make her a champion. They don't just want to give her a championship title run or championship title shot this early. I don't think when they know they want to keep it on Rousey anyway. So you might as well keep Raquel going against people that she can beat. So that way she doesn't have to take a loss in a title match. And then you have Natalya win this match, do a little feud with Rousey. Natalya has the attachment to Baszler via the tag team, if you want to call the tag team a tag team, but they're always together in the locker room and all that. So I would imagine Baszler gets involved in this somehow, interferes in a match or something, or, in some way, shape, or form, they're going here. They went with Natalya here as the veteran. That's, probably one of the more qualified people to be in a title match, as much as we want to see the younger women in there. And so you have Natalya win the match as the experienced veteran, believable, and then her attachment to Baszler then moves you on to the better feud of Baszler and Ronda at a bigger live event like Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. That's where I think they're going with that. What do you think about that sort of thought process I had there for Natalya and Baszler?
No, I agree with you. I think that personally, Natalya is like a right person to pick for this. She's an established veteran in the company, and it's only going to build Ronda up even more, I feel like. And they're going to hold off on that Shayna match because they know it's a money grabber and it's more of a bigger match to have at a bigger stage. Maybe Money in the Bank, that'll be the holdover there before SummerSlam, when I'm pretty sure we both can agree that we think Bayley should be back by then. So that's what I got to say about the winner of the six-pack challenge.
Yeah, I think that Bayley's got to come back at SummerSlam to interfere in the Baszler and Ronda feud, and we need Bayley back on there because that six-pack challenge, whatever the hell that was all the women on Smackdown, all of them except for Charlotte. You know what I mean? And I guess now we have Lacey Evans back on SmackDown, but that was our whole women's division right there. And they need more women in it, and that's all there is to it. But good match anyway, well worked by all the women, and moving on from that, you got the Madcap stuff. We talked about that. Drew McIntyre and his affiliation with the New Day. Now, a couple weeks ago, I'm looking at McIntyre throwing Reigns across the ring, and I'm thinking, damn, what a badass. And the next thing I know, he's making dick jokes and talking all this crap with the New Day. And it just totally diminishes like the tough aspect of his character. And I don't have a problem with the New Day, with what they do, and that they are what they are, and they're very accomplished and all that. But Drew McIntyre needs to find another planet that New Day is not on and go there if he wants to be looked at as a champion one day, in my opinion. What do you think about Drew McIntyre, how he looked with the New Day?
I just think it's silly and foolish, really, because, like, I get it. They're building him up as much as they can to have him get all that, praise and this and that before heading into a program with Roman. But it's like he can't find something better to do than mess with the New Day, especially after having that long feud going into WrestleMania with Corbin. So it's like, it's like we all thought, eventually that time was coming from the last PLE from Backlash, having him, beat the hell out of Roman and the Usos. And now he's back messing with the New Day after not being there for a few weeks. I know he was doing all that campaigning and stuff in Wales for the upcoming show. But it's like, really, like they couldn't find anything better for him to do than make this feud even go on even longer between the New Day and Sheamus's group, the Brutes. So it's like, it's one of them things that I'm overseeing the New Day and them go at it as it is. And honestly, throw a McIntyre in there doesn't really change my opinion on it, because we've already seen McIntyre and Sheamus go at it numerous of times.
Yeah, McIntyre needs to be doing something different, or, he's the baby face on SmackDown. I mean, there's no other baby faces on SmackDown. That's why they're bringing Riddle over all the time, because they got nobody else to be a baby face on SmackDown. So, in my opinion, he's got to be working shit in a way that it presents him as a badass, and he does not look like a badass when he's out there joking around to start the show. I understand like what WWE's trying to do, but when you got a guy that's calling his shot to go to London or Cardiff, Wales, or whatever the hell it is, and to go beat Roman Reigns, who's had the championship for God knows how long, it doesn't really, I just can't buy it when I see him joking around with the New Day like this. So, it's only 1 week. Maybe they'll do something different. But, I will say that it was nice for them to shout out to Big E. But then again, it was stupid to turn it into Big D and then associate that with all the double entendre and the innuendo of sexual innuendo, dick stuff. It was just, I don't know where Drew McIntyre needs to take some control over his creative and say, listen, I will not be presented as a comedy act. And that's, what I think about him. Do you have anything else on McIntyre before we move on?
I'm just ready to see him get serious. That's really all it comes down to. I'm ready to see him get serious and get in this program with Roman. Because, like, personally, I'm not a huge Drew McIntyre fan, as a lot of people are. I still look at him as, I appreciate like what he did during the Thunderdome era, and I really do. Like, because he had that company on his back for a while. But at the same time, I'm just not too like high on him. I like, maybe it's just because I like the heels. I'm a heel over guy. So that's really what it comes down to. But personally, nothing against Drew McIntyre. I think he's fantastic in the ring.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. The character, that they're doing too much of they had the story time stuff and the sword stuff, and they need to just stop with all that and just let him show it in the ring and let him be whatever. If he has to be a heel to be that, then they should turn him. And maybe they're doing all this stupid stuff so that they can turn him. I don't really know. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but it just, I guess my point is he's calling his shot to have a title shot. And when you're out there with the New Day doing stuff like that, it totally like takes away all of what I thought a couple weeks ago leading into the tag unit, or no, it was WrestleMania Backlash that we were leading into for the 6-man match. We saw, the contract signing, and then McIntyre come out and stare down Reigns and then throw him across the ring, and then Reigns looks scared. Now it's like that never happened, you know. But also on the show, you know, to end that match, I actually liked the way that Butch, you know, they had Butch do his finisher at the bitter end, and he ended up going over. So it was nice to see Butch get that. We also had Riddle on the show with the Usos. He was teaming with Nakamura for the Unified Tag Championship. Nakamura got injured in the match. They tried to play it off as a shoot. It was obviously a work to put over Riddle as a badass in the ring. He nearly, I mean, I knew he wasn't going to win the match, but there was several times where I honestly was like, holy shit, Riddle might win this. What did you think of that match?
Well, everyone in the match they're great workers, you know. Nakamura is a great worker. Riddle's a great worker, and the Usos are fantastic as well. So when you have all of them together, it's going to be a good match no matter what, I feel like. And yeah, with the whole work injury, yeah. So I was iffy about it, you know. I'd rather have just seen Nakamura and him just lose cleanly, I guess, because for my reasoning is, you know, like why they're doing this to begin with, because yeah, the Usos injured both of their partners and then you just throw them together. But I would have rather have seen Nakamura's eat a pin rather than the finish was
they hit the Uso splash and pin
it was
Riddle.
A splash, right?
Yeah, but
the DQ finish was Monday, right?
Yeah, it was. This
was going into that match. That's what it was.
This was the referee throwing up the X and having a trainer take Nakamura backstage, but the match continued with. It was basically a handicap match at that point.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. There we go. So the DQ finish was Monday then for them to get the title shot. That's what it was. But yeah, you know, like they're all good workers, and
last night
Nakamura eat a pin.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Last night also was when Sami Zayn played Roman Reigns' music, and that distracted Riddle, which allowed the Uso splash to happen.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I actually think it was good storytelling because they got the fake injury to Nakamura, made it look real because the referee threw up the X and they brought in the trainer and got him out of there. And then Riddle totally kicked two guys' ass that are the Unified Tag Champions. They're supposed to be the best tag team ever. They're the ones. You know what I'm saying? And this guy had them beat a couple times. And if not for Sami Zayn fucking with the music, he would have won the match. So it's making him more credible as an opponent for Roman Reigns, and that's really long-term where we're going. So I'm okay with it in that respect. In the moment, I was like, come on, man. You're going to ruin this match by having an injury to Nakamura, and now you're having the music play. But while Riddle was doing his thing, and while I think about where they're going next, where they're sort of going long term, and that it's really not even about the tag team. It's about getting Roman Reigns opponents and having people built up and presented strong enough to do it. I think it was a good way to make Riddle look strong. He took the pin in the match, but he looked strong as hell when he was beating the hell out of both the Usos. When he get distracted by Sami Zayn and the music, I guess the Usos are going to take advantage and beat you. But other than that, if that didn't happen, he might have won the match. And on top of that, now we have Zayn, who basically is doing this stuff with the bloodline so they have a worker other than the Usos to sort of plug in there in TV matches to fight on Roman's behalf. Not necessarily directly on his behalf, but like when you think about back in the day, in the second incarnation of the NWO, like in the early 2000s with WWE, you had Hall and Nash in there, but you also had X-Pac in there. Now, X-Pac was a part of the NWO and WCW, but he was also part of the NWO and WWE because they needed somebody that could work matches all the time, that could take bumps all the time, that if they had a tag match could be the main guy that's in there getting his ass kicked most of the time, or, doing most of the work, and then they work to the hot tag for the other guys. And so Sami Zayn's probably going to take on that role as part of the bloodline for Roman Reigns and everything like that. Real quick, what do you think of Sami Zayn in this role? Do you think it's going to be, if that is what his role is, do you think that having him, in single matches with Riddle builds up Zayn a little bit as a heel and, helps you get to Reigns, or what? And do you even agree that Reigns' next opponent is looking like Riddle?
Right off the bat, I agree that his next opponent's going to be Riddle. And I think that's an obvious, besides all the reports and all the news things that I read and this and that, just the way that they're setting up in the storyline, how it looks like it's going, having him, go out there with no partner and end up losing because of Sami Zayn hitting the music and stuff like that. But personally, I like Sami Zayn, and as a character level, I think he's really good on the mic and he's really good in the ring. But I just have a feeling this is going to be a long-term thing and then come crashing down, and they're going to just end up turning on him. As we've seen already, he's an honorary Uce, I guess that's what they're going to call it. But it's just one of those things. It's I think Sami Zayn could have been given more, but anything that he touches, he's going to make it gold, I feel like. And no matter what that is, he's going to go ahead and put all into it and give 100%. So it's I agree with you, though, about how saying, they need that workhorse who's going to be on doing the TV matches every week. So while Roman's not there. So I agree with them for doing that. It's a good thing to have him there working those matches, and he'll probably get a match against Riddle. We'll probably see that maybe next week on SmackDown now.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see it. We might even see him on Raw. You never know. They're going back and forth with their stars. They've basically all but even said the brand split's basically done. They try to keep certain people, separated, but they're moving their star power around as much as they want to, which is fine with me. Some people have a problem with it, some people don't. I think that, where I have a problem with it is when they try to use it as this is the Survivor Series, the only time of the year that a Raw superstar will face a SmackDown one. All right, that's enough with that. But anyway, moving on from that, that was the bloodline. Looks like Riddle's facing Roman next. You got Gunther next week against Ricochet. I think that match could go 3 different ways. Gunther wins in 3 minutes. Ricochet wins with a roll-up, where Ricochet puts up a valiant effort for about 8 or 9 minutes, but Gunther ends up winning. Which of those 3 do you think will happen?
Let's do it. I think it's going to be the last option that you said. I think it's going to be a good match, and he's going to put up a great effort and then unfortunately take the pin. But was that a championship contenders match, or was it just a regular match?
I believe it was an actual Intercontinental title match.
Is it for the title?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still stand with that. I think we're gonna have a new champion. Yeah, if that's the case.
I kind of agree with you too. I think that it's gonna be a decent match, and they'll have Gunther win this one. I mean, honestly, I could definitely see Ricochet putting up a valiant effort and then winning with a roll up too. I didn't say that as a 4th option, but I think they're going to, why would you waste your time with it? Why would you keep it on Ricochet any longer and just keep going back and forth with Gunther? So, I think you're right on with that one. I think they're probably going to end up putting Gunther over here, but it'll be a match that Ricochet, that movement that Ricochet can create around a big guy like Gunther is going to be pretty fun to watch. And Gunther hitting those big ass chops right onto the chest of Ricochet is going to be pretty fun too. But that's about all that's worth noting about SmackDown last night, I believe, unless you got anything else from the show.
Besides, seeing Shotzi and all of them, I like the fact that they're actually putting them on TV for once. So that's all I really took away from it, was the fact that I'm excited to see more women get involved and step up to Rousey. And if I'm not mistaken though, which match used to start off with 2 people and then another person come in and then have to go all the way through? I thought that was a 6-pack challenge, and it was weird to me how they just had like one finish. They were all in the ring at the same time. Or am I mistaken?
You're thinking of a gauntlet match.
A gauntlet. That's right. You're right.
Yeah.
So not the.
Yeah, in the gauntlet, you'd have 2 people in the ring, and then if I beat you, then the next person comes out, and then I got to beat them, or they might beat me. Then the next person comes, and then the 6-packs challenge is basically a fatal 6-way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so, that makes sense.
But yeah, it was good to see them all get some work in the ring, and they all look pretty good. They get TV time. Recently, they've been getting some TV time, but it's nice to see them get in-ring time. The girls on Raw get the in-ring time. The girls on Smackdown barely get it. And so it's nice to see that they got it last night. But, we did not get a women's match added to the card, but we got the Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin match added, and it's a no holds barred match. We also saw, before I get into it, we saw Max Dupree last night. Just real quick, who do you think is going to be his first male model that he introduces?
I think it's going to be Mace.
Yeah,
that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I mean, that's who in the dark matches main event he was working with, Mace and Mansoor. I think it's going to be either of the two. Nobody said that it's going to be the 2 people he had been working with. Actually, I've heard reports that it's going to be 2 new people, but I still think it's going to be Mace. I don't even care. I agree with you.
The only other thing from SmackDown is, what the hell is up with Shanky's dancing, bro?
Oh man, I didn't even want to bring it up because it would bring the show down. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I mean, they're just trying to give
cringy.
Yeah. They're trying to give his character some color. And I guess, Ricochet is married to or dating or whatever Samantha Irvin. So I guess he's okay with Shanky, grinding up to her and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. I'm okay with the dissension between him and Jinder Mahal and have them break up or have Shanky turn. They're trying to turn Shanky babyface is what they're doing. But making him dance like a fool, is that what they do to make people babyfaces these days? I mean, it worked with Rikishi. That's it. They need to stop now with the dancing. But anyway, we're here to talk about Hell in a Cell, and that's what we're going to do. We are going to do our Hell in a Cell predictions right after this break. Remember, guys, if you don't like the ads and don't like to fast forward, please become a patron. $1 is all you need. $1 a month. You can't even do anything for $1 these days. I mean, a collect call costs more than $1. They even call collect anymore? I don't know. But we'll be right back after this to break down Hell in a Cell.
The Beyond the Mat Podcast. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Beyond the Mat Podcast.
All right, we're back here to do our Hell in a Cell predictions. My title is on the line here. We're going to start out with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. A lot of people think that this is going to be the match of the night. In my opinion, this feud's been outstanding, despite the fact that this is the third of a hopefully 3-match feud. It could end up into a 10-match feud if they want to keep doing it. But the other night we saw Seth Rollins cut an amazing promo. Might have been the best promo I've seen in years. Maybe the best work Seth Rollins doing in his career. Rhodes took both matches before this. Remember, at Backlash, he won by pulling Seth Rollins' tights after an O'Connor roll, which Seth Rollins actually started the tights pulling, and Cody Rhodes took it back to him. Cody Rhodes won clean at WrestleMania after 3 Crossroads in a pretty long, very well done match for two guys who really hadn't been working together. This one, now all of a sudden, Seth Rollins is just nuts about the fact that Cody Rhodes is coming to the WWE and is a top babyface while he's been there for as long as he has. He says that nothing's happening on his time as far as Cody Rhodes winning the WWE title anytime soon, and he's there to stop him. What do you think's going to happen in this match?
You know, I'm really looking forward to this. This feud has been heating up, and it's at that point where it's like, I'm just excited to see them beat the hell out of each other, really. The promo Seth did on Monday Night Raw was amazing. Cody, again, comes out there, cuts a good promo. Seth comes through the crowd in his home state. And, you know, I just love seeing that. And I feel like this match is going to fucking burn the place down. And I hope they have some big spots in it. Like, I hope there's like maybe a top of the cell spot. I don't want to see one of them get thrown off, but I wouldn't complain if they did. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to this match, and hopefully the finish that I'm leaning towards will be the outcome of the match. That way we can move on and get some new storylines brewing for both of them. And I'm really excited to see where things go from here. And I'm just really excited to see this match personally. It's going to be the one match this whole week I've just been like, come on, let's go Sunday. I want to see Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell. So
yeah, and you know they're going to make us wait all night for it too, because it'll definitely be the main eventing match. You know, you could argue that the women's match could main event, but I doubt they're going to want to put the cell together at any other time but for the last match. So, you know, I agree with you. This is a match that I can't wait to see either. We have two guys that are at the top of their game, and they're inside the cell now. They got a lot of heat. You know, anything can happen. This is something that, you know, I'm interested to see the way that Seth sort of uses heel tactics with the cell and is, you know, fights dirty. You know, that's one reason why I think that he actually could win this match. Cody could lose this match. I don't think he will. I'm not going to pick Cody, but I do think that this is a match that Seth Rollins has an opportunity to win. You know, a lot of people are like, Seth Rollins can't lose 3 in a row. That'll make him a loser. Seth Rollins is a loser as far as matches go because he's a heel that puts guys over because he's so established right now. But as far as this feud goes, it's been great. They've had great matches together. You know, we could go on and on talking about that. But let's just get to it. Who do you think goes over in this match?
I got to go with Cody Rhodes. I ended up picking Seth Rollins at the last one, and I was wrong. I thought maybe he would have got that middle victory because I knew they were going to have that third match. But now that it's been confirmed they're having this third match, there's no way I can see Cody Rhodes losing. For the main reasoning is for what reason? He's already won 2. Why have him lose the last one? It's like it doesn't do anything for the fact that he's already beat Seth Rollins twice. And Seth Rollins is one of those guys that he doesn't really need to win to establish himself because he's just so good at everything he does. He's one of the best workers, one of the best promos, and he could build himself up in a week after taking a loss. So that's just how I feel. So with this one, I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes taking the win, moving towards Money in the Bank.
How many confidence points would you put on that out of 7?
This is a big one for me. I think I'm going to go with 6.
All right. And just for laughs, do you think that any action happens outside of the cell? Do you think they break through the cell and do anything out there?
Like I said, I hope so. I think it's deserving of it too, especially because after that big brawl they had, that was amazing. I want to see shit. I want to see them fucking smashing each other's heads against the cell. I want to see blood in this match. This match, if there's any match that's deserving of it in the past few months, this match is definitely deserving of having a little blood in there. And we all know Cody Rhodes, when he bleeds, his hair is going to turn all red and everything else. And I'd love to see it. Maybe that's just like my hardcore fan coming out, but I just want to see it.
I do. I mean, I think this is a blood feud too. We saw the promo by Seth in his hometown. great place to do it, by the way. You know, I got to give WWE a lot of credit for having that promo done in Seth's hometown from the crowd, so the crowd would be behind him and the heat would be even more. And everything that he said about, you know, everything Cody has done, you know, it was all real. It was all sort of like life imitates art, art imitates life sort of thing. And those are always the best feuds because they're so relatable and they're real things. And I think that in this match, you know, it's all about Cody Rhodes. This feud's all about Cody Rhodes being a big baby face, big time. They're trying to build him up to be bigger and stronger than any of their other baby faces, not mess surrounding with the New Day like Drew McIntyre does, you know, not doing these other things. They're trying to do everything right with him. And the next step in that is for him to have a brutal match in a Hell in a Cell with Seth Rollins, who's completely unchained and does all kinds of ridiculous stuff, almost beats him. But in the end, Cody Rhodes wins this match and gets rid of Seth Rollins once and for all and moves on to I don't know what, but he comes out of this looking even tougher and even stronger and even more formidable as a babyface opponent for Roman Reigns or whoever is holding the championship when he has the opportunity to go after it. So I'm going with Cody as well. And I'm not as confident as you, so I'm just going to go with 3 confidence points for this one. Moving on from that one, we have the Raw Women's Championship match. Triple threat, Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, Asuka. Originally, it was supposed to be Bel-Air and Naomi, but it changed. We're not going to get into why it changed. It just changed. We have now Becky and Asuka, who have worked their way into this match by virtue of Asuka defeating Becky and then Becky defeating Asuka the following week. We saw Asuka fight Bianca on Raw this week. The match was actually pretty good. Asuka was all kinds of technical and putting in every submission she knew, and Bianca was showing off her athleticism, powering out of all of that. And of course, at the end of it, Becky Lynch stood tall with the 2 manhandle slams, 1 to each of them. Who do you think goes over in this one?
Personally, I love all 3 women in this match. I think they're all great workers, in the ring wise anyways. Now, when it comes to, you know, promos and characters, you know, I'm a little higher up on Becky Lynch out of the 3. I really like her work that she's doing. I think she's getting really good at promos too. But then again, you have Bianca in there who's just so over with the crowd, and they just seem to love her. And then Asuka, who is also, like you said, a technician. She's going to get in there and she's going to put every submission in the book that she knows on you and will do anything to make you tap out. Now, when it comes to who do I think is going to go over, I think this is the one that I've just been like, I know right off the rip who's going to win. And I just got to say it's going to be Bianca. She only won the title at Mania. It's her first title defense. So it's like, I don't see her losing it now, and I don't see her losing it anytime soon, really. So with that being said, I'm going to go with Bianca Belair. And for my confidence points, it's going to be a 7.
All righty. So you're very confident that Bianca's going to win. I would agree with you. Bianca Belair is going to win this match. If she were facing Naomi as originally scripted, she would have gone over in that match. The feud is really more about Becky and Asuka here. And Bianca's, you know, obviously Becky had unfinished business with Bianca, according to Becky. But at the end of the day, the feud was going to be Asuka and Becky for a while, working singles. And that's what I think they'll move on to after this. Once Bianca gets rid of them in this match, she'll move on to Rhea Ripley or somebody else. But, you know, for this match, you got Asuka in here. You know, before I get into my prediction, how do you feel about Asuka's presentation and her, you know, her cosplaying and the gibberish she talks sometimes, the promos? Do you like it?
I'm not a fan. I think she's one of those that she deserves better. She should be given more. And I feel like she does know more English than like what they like to show and like makes the audience perceive. But I'm just not a fan of the whole. I feel like it's gimmicky. She's had no character development. I feel like she's been the same since debuting. But it's like I can't be mad at her because it's like she's doing what she's given. And I know that backstage and creative, they're probably giving her all these mama poo-poo lines, you know? So it's like she's going to go out there and she's going to do her job regardless of what they're giving her. But I think she's a credible opponent because in the ring, she's really good.
Yeah, she's outstanding. I think that, you know, the stuff with the quai, baby mama, this, that, the other, I think it's really, really stupid because she is a legit competitor. And, you know, she's got some badass entrance music and she's badass in the ring. You know, you saw her attacking every single limb that Bianca Belair has. But yes, at the end of the day, Bianca Belair is going to win this match. I think Asuka's going to take the pin. You know, we'll probably see Becky manhandle slam Asuka and then get KOD'd. And then we'll have Asuka take I don't know. Well, Asuka's taking the pin in this match one way or the other. I don't see interference from anybody or anything like that. I think it's as clear as the sky is blue that Bianca's going over here. And really, there's not much more I can add to it than that. Do you have anything else?
Yeah. What did you say your confidence points were for this one?
7.
7. Okay. So we're agreeing.
Yeah, we're on point with that one. Now, I may change my Cody confidence points. You can always change them. They're only final at the end of the podcast. So
yep,
we'll go over it and make sure we got the right stuff. So we both have Bianca on that one. Now, just so we're in lockstep with Kyle, he believes that Cody will win with a pin in the Hell in a Cell match. He had a confidence of 5. And he believes Bianca retains with a pin of Becky with confidence of 6. So obviously I thought Cody would win with confidence of 3 via pinfall. I don't think he's going to win you're not going to win by submission in a freaking Hell in a Cell match. And then in the triple threat, I figured Bianca is going to pin Asuka and with 7. So who do you think Bianca is going to pin?
Oof. Honestly, I can see her pinning either one, but if I have to just pick off the top real quick, I'm gonna go with Asuka. I'm gonna say she'll pin Asuka.
All right, so we're both leaving that Bianca's definitely going over and probably pinning Asuka. So we're pretty much on the same page with that one. Do you think that we're gonna see Becky and Asuka feud after this? And who do you think Bianca's next opponent is?
Yeah, I think they're going to go into a program, and I think it'll maybe end up SummerSlam. Maybe we can see that program lead to. Maybe, you know, maybe they'll both be in the Women's Money in the Bank match. Something happens in there, and then program will continue until SummerSlam, because no matter what, they're both going to put on a great match regardless. Becky Lynch and Asuka. And for Bianca Belair's next opponent, I think she's going to be with maybe Rhea Ripley. They can start working that program because I know that's what it's going to be leading towards, especially from reports of house shows and stuff like that. So that's why I think they're going to end up going with leading towards SummerSlam.
Mate, this isn't high school. And I'm not going to let your pettiness hurt Nikki's feelings.
I'm not going to let your piness hurt Nikki's feelings. No, but yeah, Rhea's been working with Bianca in dark matches and house shows. So I think that she's definitely probably the next one. I think that the 3 of these women are 3 of the best workers they have. And they all have 3 different fighting styles. And I think that they all work really well together. We saw Bianca and Becky have that great match at WrestleMania. We've seen Asuka have great matches with Becky before. And we've seen Asuka have pretty good matches with Bianca. So I think that all 3 of them together can have a hell of a match here. And then I think Becky and Asuka moving on can have a really, really, really good feud and a really good pay-per-view match down the line. And then obviously I agree with you on Rhea Ripley being the next opponent. So, and the thing about like Becky Lynch is that she's one of those people that can work with almost anybody and make it look great, and no matter what their fighting style is. And I also think that's true about Bianca Belair and why she's a good babyface champion. And that's what I saw in Drew McIntyre back when he was champion, back when he was more of a top guy and not doing this comedy stuff, is that he had matches with Orton, with Reigns, with I want to say Goldberg. I mean, he had all kinds of matches with all different kinds of workers. And that's what made him so great at that time. And now, he's still capable of doing that, but he doesn't. And Becky Lynch does that. She has an outstanding match no matter who she's with. Everybody she had a match with while she was in her title reign, it was a good match in my opinion. When it was Doudrop, when it was it didn't matter who it was. They looked good, and Becky Lynch was a huge part of that. So I think any Becky Lynch match is good. This will be a great one. And, my question is how they're going to work it, because usually in triple threat matches, they get rid of one of the people, send them ringside so that way the other two can go at it in the ring. Then that person that was selling ringside gets in there and starts working over somebody. They get rid of another one. They start going at it. Then the other person comes in, you know what I mean? And then it all hell breaks loose and all three of them are in there. So it can be a very messy match, but if it's well booked, it'll be really well done because we got three very capable competitors in there. So moving on from that one, United States Championship match. Theory coming in as the incumbent champion versus Mustafa Ali. This is an interesting feud here. I could see this going either way just because of the fact that the go-home math has Theory beating the hell out of Ali, standing tall, telling us that Ali may be going over at the pay-per-view, but I honestly just can't see it. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, this is one that could go either way for me. I feel like, and it's like the way that it's been booked with having on Monday Night Raw with, he's Theory saying, I'll give you a title match. And then he has him win by disqualification and then ends up having the title match right then. And then Vince McMahon saying to Adam Pearce, I guess he wants to see an actual match. And now that's what we're going to get at the PLE on Sunday, which is tomorrow. And now I'm actually looking forward to this one because I really like Austin Theory, which is crazy to say, but I'm just a fan of his work. The whole selfie gimmick, he can get rid of that. But I love the cockiness. I love his attitude. I feel like he plays a heel role really well. And I'm looking forward to seeing him hold this title for a while. So with that all being said, I have Austin Theory retaining. And on my confidence level for this one, I have it at a 5.
All right. So you got Theory at 5 and pin or submission.
I think it's going to be a pin. He's going to hit him with the ATL, but I wouldn't be surprised, there's a lot of guys Ciampa's not on the card. Miz isn't on the card. We could see an interference in some way, I feel like, because, there's been a lot of shit brewing between Miz and him as well. So who knows?
Yeah, I think interference is definitely a possibility here by somebody like The Miz. I think this is all about Theory, building him up, giving Mustafa Ali an opportunity and, some spotlight in a good match. He'll work a good match. There'll be points in the match where he's got the upper hand. It looks like he may win, but they're not going to have Theory lose his title just yet, just a month after winning it. And him being a guy that they're, promoting as a future Universal Champion. He's not losing that U.S. title that fast. Unless they give it to Ali for a week or so and Theory wins it back on a Raw, which honestly isn't a terrible idea because it brings some excitement to your Raw television show. So, yeah, I can see it going a lot of different ways. But at the end of the day, I think given what we know and what we've seen, with Ali, both in and outside of the ring and outside of the confines of WWE, on social media and things like that. I just think that they're, giving him a good sort of program to be in, but there's no way he's going over. I'm going with Theory winning with a pin here. Confidence level 6. Wins with the ATL. Possible interference by Miz. I don't think it'll end in a DQ. It could end in a DQ and Ali win, though, and Theory end up retaining that way. That's the only way I would pick Ali to win this, is if it was him winning by DQ and Theory retaining the title. I don't think there's any way the title's going to Ali here. No offense to Ali. I'm a fan of his. I'm a fan of his work. And I think it'll be a great match. But I don't think that he's going to be walking out of this one as the United States champion. You got anything else to add on this one? And before you do, we had Theory with a pin as the prediction from Kyle, and he had 1 confidence point on it. So he's not too confident about this match. I think he may be thinking maybe Ali wins this one and loses it back. I don't know. But anything else to add on this one before we move on?
Nah, that's all I really have. Like I said, I think that they're going to put on a good match though, regardless, because they're both decent in ring workers, especially Ali. I think he's really good in the ring though. Yeah,
I think this is going to be really good, and
this could be the most slept on match of the night. I feel like they might end up having a burner.
Yeah, they definitely could have a very good match. If they're given the time to do it, they can do it. Ali's a good worker. Theory's a good worker. And, I think with a lot of guys, if they're given the right amount of time and they're given the finish that makes sense, they can put together a good match. And a lot of times when we get, stupid matches or matches that just don't make any sense, it's because guys don't get enough time to do what they need to do in there, because there's time taken up by other shit that's on the show or on the card that doesn't need to be there, or that takes up too much time, but we see that every week with the repeated video packages and things like that. So next matchup, we had handicap match, Bobby Lashley versus Omas and MVP. Bobby Lashley defeated Omas in a cage match after getting thrown through the cage. This has been a feud that has been going on since before WrestleMania, when Bobby Lashley defeated Omos at WrestleMania after being the first man to knock him off his feet prior to WrestleMania, beat him at WrestleMania, hit a snap suplex on him. That was a big moment, I guess. And then WrestleMania Backlash, he lost after interference by MVP and his cane. So we now have Bobby Lashley versus Omos and MVP. And this is really more about MVP getting his ass back in the ring and feuding more with Bobby Lashley than it is about Omos. But I also think it's about Omos building him as more of a package than just a giant that can't do anything but screaming. Yeah, they're trying to protect him a little bit in this match, but keep him strong. So that's what I think's going on here. I don't know where they're going with Omos after this match is over, and more importantly, where they're going with Lashley. He's one of the most important baby faces they have. Just turned babyface recently, and he's here stuck in a feud with Omos and MVP when he legitimately should be going after one of the world championships. But I digress. Where do you see this this 3-person handicap match going?
Yeah, this one I've been all over the place with, for the main reason of, man, it's like we have Lashley taking the win at WrestleMania, and then Omos coming back and winning at Backlash, and then the cage match and how it ends. So it's like I've been all over the place. I'm not sure who to go with, but overall, I'm going to say Bobby Lashley ends up winning this one. And my confidence points for this one is actually a 2. For the main reason is that it's been hard for me to pick going back and forth between this one. And it's been all over the place, I feel like. But I'm ready to see this feud come to an end and have Lashley move on to bigger and better things. who knows? Maybe he'll get judged by Judgment Day next. You never know.
Who takes the pin in this one?
Oh, I got to go with MVP taking the pin. But unfortunately, I feel like if that happens, then we might get a fucking another match between the two because Omos is going to be like, or MVP will come out and say, oh, well, you didn't pin the Colossal Omos and the Nigerian Giant bullshit. And then I'm going to be like, man, I don't want to see this anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Bobby Lashley needs to move on to something else. That's the main thing. And I don't need to see MVP in the ring. He's fine as a prick heel, prick heel manager behind the mic. He actually incites other people to cut better promos against him when he's behind the mic. So I think he's outstanding behind the mic. I honestly believe that the whole thing is more about building up Omos, but also building up Lashley. Now, I've gone back and forth on this match. This is the hardest one for me to pick. You got Lashley in here, who we know that he's a big baby face. They want to push him, but we know that Omos is a commodity that they want to protect and keep big. They also have MVP just returning to the ring. Now, the question is, why? Why do you have MVP return to the ring? Here's why. You put him in a handicap match with Omos and Lashley. You have Lashley overcome the odds of 2 versus 1, but Omos still looks strong in the match, and Lashley ends up pinning MVP for the win. So I'm going with Lashley to win this one with 1 confidence point, and I'm going to end up saying also that Cedric Alexander is going to get involved in this somehow, is my bold prediction, I guess, for it. Do you see any kind of interference from Alexander?
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. And then him having to overcome 3 people, make him look even stronger. So yeah, I can see that happening for sure.
Yeah, see, I think they're trying to make Lashley look strong. And what does it do for Lashley for him to lose a handicap? Now, it protects him a little bit. Okay, he's got the excuse that it was 2 against 1. He couldn't overcome that. But if he overcomes that, then it makes him look even stronger. You pin MVP because it really doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt Omos, who's already been hurt by the loss at WrestleMania, and he can continue going on as the Colossus from Nigeria or whatever the hell they're calling him. And then, everybody kind of goes home happy that way. So I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're agreeing there. We also have Kyle picking Bobby with a pin on MVP. He has 4 confidence points on this one. So he's giving himself a chance to make up some ground there with the confidence points. Although he only put 1 on the Theory and Ali match, and, so he was not very confident in that one. So making up some ground on that match. Now, moving on. Speaking of Judgment Day, you think that Lashley may be judged by them. They are going to be in a mixed tag match. It'll be Edge and Priest and Rhea Ripley versus Styles, Bel-Air, and Liv Morgan. We have, a basic makeshift temporary Bullet Club here against Judgment Day, a faction by Edge that's growing. I think they've been the best. Honestly, this last week, I liked them the best, and it was probably because Edge wasn't there. And Edge is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, don't get me wrong. I've been very hard on the Judgment Day the whole time. I've liked them at certain points. I've also been turned off by the cheap heat that they go for, knowing that Edge can cut a lot more intelligent and a lot better promos than that. And I just don't really still buy Rhea Ripley behind the microphone. And I think it's just a little bit ridiculous to end matches with lights going off and things like that. We talked about that stuff before. But I also thought it was really funny how Priest is just like, all rise. And everybody rose. And then he still said, all rise, all rise, all rise 3 times. But I think that, it'd be counterintuitive here for the face team to win this. Mixed tag matches are weird in my opinion because you got men and women tagging in and out. Men can't hit the women, so then it just, they have to work it in a way that makes sense. But at the end of the day, the story is about Judgment Day. getting stronger and continuing to dominate. And hopefully they move on from, I like the way that AJ Styles and Finn Balor are playing those babyface characters that everybody loves, that, are capable, but they get their ass kicked by this faction. Who do you think wins this one?
Man, this one has been on my mind all week. And it's like, my heart's telling me one thing, my head's telling me another thing. I just don't know which team to go with. But like you just said, they're building up Judgment Day so much. It's like, I just don't see them losing anytime soon. So it's like I feel like I have to pick them. I don't want to, because I want to see the makeshift club get a win. I want to see AJ Styles get a win, because I feel like, he's already lost now 2 times. It's been to Edge. So it's like, I want to see him get a win. And it's like, how do they move forward if the heels get another win here? I don't know where the story is going to end up going, or is that just going to be the end of it? Maybe a lot of people think Finn Balor is going to turn heel on AJ. Maybe that will lead to a program with them, and then that will be all done between the two groups. Personally, I don't want to see that, but and it's like Liv Morgan's one of my favorites, man. So it's like, but I'm gonna go with Judgment Day. My confidence level for this one is a 1. I have no idea. It could go either way. I feel like Liv Morgan getting the win on Monday Night Raw is the main reason what's leading me towards the heels going over here and getting the win. No matter how much I don't want to see it, because I want to see the face get a win here, I don't think it's going to happen. What about you? Because I've been all over the place, as you can tell.
I'm a little bit all over the place too, because of the fact that it's a mixed tag match, and those are all over the place. You could have AJ Styles beating the shit out of Edge, but then he gets blind tagged by Rhea, and AJ Styles has to stop what he's doing so that Liv Morgan can come in. And, at the end of the day, though, regardless of how the mechanics of the match work and, everybody involved, I think that Judgment Day is what it's all about here. I think they're trying to put this faction over. I don't think that the Balor, Styles, and Morgan faction is really like something that's going to last. I think it's just something that they put together to help put over the Judgment Day faction. And I also think that we may see a 4th member of Judgment Day reveal themselves to help them. That's been the common theme every pay-per-view. They got to get a new member that helps them win the match. We have, Bianca Belair as champion, Rhea Ripley rumored as the next opponent. So I think this match is going to end with Rhea Ripley pinning Liv Morgan. My confidence of that is 1 as well. We had a confidence points of 7 for Judgment Day winning this match by Kyle. So he's very confident that Rhea Ripley's going to pin Liv Morgan. I'm not as confident, just because they've had Judgment Day go over so much that, who the hell knows where they're going with this. But at the end of the day, they've rumored, the turn of Balor on Styles. Let me ask you a question. What if the members of Judgment Day, maybe not now, but maybe once they pick up another member or 2, what if they all turn on Edge and they're like, listen, we're actually the ones who struggled in our career. You were successful for 25 years. You were a champion. Why are you telling us how to live through a tough career? You never even had one. And so that's actually something I think that could happen. Do you think it's possible that within Judgment Day, the members could throw Edge out of it basically and start a feud with him?
Oh yeah, I think it's very possible to happen. Now, do I think it's going to happen? Probably not anytime soon. But then again, I feel like it could be maybe of a Nation of Domination kind of thing. I remember back in the day, as I didn't get to really grow up watching it, but I've went back and I've watched a lot of old Monday Night Raws and a lot of old things from Peacock or the network as it was before. And it could be something like that maybe, and have a new person take over and end up Edge going back to being a face. And honestly, down the line, I wouldn't mind seeing that happen, honestly, because let's be honest, he doesn't have too much tread left on the tires. Maybe he has 2 years left, if that. maybe makes it to Mania. What are we at? 38th. Maybe go to WrestleMania 40 and then hang the boots up there. So maybe we could see him versus the new leader of it at that time at WrestleMania 40, which is over a year and a half away still. So
yeah, and it's that classic sort of feud of I made you. How dare you? Now we're gonna fucking fight over it. And I just think that, you know, the nation domination parallel you just talked about is exactly where I'm going with it, because that's exactly what I've equated Judgment Day to. Not the Brood, not the Ministry of Darkness, the Nation of Domination, because it's like a bunch of guys who are sort of middling and not getting where they need to go. And, you know, it's not as many guys obviously now because there's only one guy, Edge, and one woman, but presumably there's going to be more members, and it's people that are going to, you know, build themselves up in the group. And like you said, in the Nation, the leader of it ended up getting turned on, Farouk, and he ended up feuding with The Rock. So it's definitely something possible. I think it's something that we're going to see down the line, but that's not where we're going tonight. We're talking about Hell in a Cell. We're getting way off the tracks here. We both had Judgment Day winning this one with a pin. Do you see a new member of Judgment Day coming in here?
It's like, personally, I could really see Finn Balor turning on AJ Styles and then them having a program. But then it's also like you said, if we're moving forward past AJ Styles, why have that happen? Because if he does turn on him, it's going to obviously lead towards more of Judgment Day with Finn Balor on AJ Styles. So maybe a guy like T-Bar, which I know you mentioned before, maybe that's why we just seen him on Monday Night Raw chasing after the pointless 24/7 title, which I think is a big sign because we haven't seen him in forever. And I know on Main Event, he's been winning a lot of matches. I went to the show, Monday Night Raw show, a couple months ago, and he was on Main Event and he got a win there too. So maybe they're trying to have him get some more experience in the ring, which I think he's pretty good. And honestly, if he goes back to his old name as he had in NXT, Dominic, how do you say the last name? Dijakovic. If he goes back to that name, probably not, because, you know, WWE is not going to let him get that back, but you never know. Cause like, I know they have that variant of him in WWE 2K22. So maybe that's like a thing that was open in the air. Like, oh, maybe you can go back to your old name. You never know.
Yeah, maybe they can call him just Dijak or Dijax or something like that.
Yeah.
Like half of his last name.
I wouldn't even be mad if it was just his last name.
Yeah. You know,
I think it's a badass last name if you can say it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that exactly what you just said was exactly what I was going to say, is that I think we saw T-Bar in that 24/7 segment for a reason. He put somebody down with a vicious choke slam, and you know, we haven't seen him on TV as far as Raw in a long time, and I think that that's why. Remind us that he's there. Now we're gonna get him, because listen, if they would have had him you know, come in as a masked character or whatever to help the Judgment Day or whatever, it just doesn't make any sense if you haven't seen him in a long time. There's nobody for Michael Cole to say, oh, that's T-Bar. T-Bar. Remember T-Bar from that 24/7 segment 5 days ago? So now people can actually remember T-Bar when he joins Judgment Day. And I think that that's going to happen. I think that Judgment Day is going to get its fourth member here, and it might be what helps them win. If it's not what helps them win, it'll certainly be what helps them execute a post-match beatdown, which is definitely something that is customary when Judgment Day's out there. They're beating people up, whether they win or they lose. It was awesome on Raw when we saw the baby faces stand tall and hit all their finishers at the end. Very nice, phenomenal forearm, and then the coup de grace by Balor. So I really like that. Liv Morgan hit her finisher too. So all three of them hit a finisher, and that's basically the reason why I see them losing, because the babyfaces stood tall on Raw. We're going to see the heels stand tall at the pay-per-view. I think that's all we got on that match. We got 2 matches left, and I'm going to go ahead and take our final break before we break those down, and then we will be back to do the rest. Remember, Subscribe on Patreon for $1 to avoid the ads. Follow us on Twitter at BeyondMattWWE. Remember, you can email us questions for our What Matters show, and we will talk about your question on the show. Matt at BeyondTheMat.com. We'll be right back after this.
The Beyond the Mat podcast. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Beyond the Mat podcast.
All right, we're back now, and we're going to get into Kevin Owens versus Ezekiel or Elias, whatever you want to call him. I don't want you to call me a liar just for calling him Ezekiel like Kevin Owens does. He gets very angry about that. It's very funny about that. And I think that this feud would be nothing if not Kevin Owens being involved in it, because he has been absolutely hilarious in it. It's gotten a little bit repetitive, but they've done a good job of keeping guys like Gable and Otis involved in it to sort of keep it interesting. I'm not a huge fan of Ezekiel in the ring. His finisher is a shoulder breaker. And Kyle and I were talking about that. It's like, can you come up with a move that looks a little more devastating than a shoulder breaker to finish somebody? But at the end of the day, I think Ezekiel's going to win this match somehow. I just don't think that they're going to have KO win this match. I think they're going to put Ezekiel over, because if they beat him, then it's basically rendering him useless. And KO is very much like Seth Rollins in that he can take a loss and he can come right back the next week. People are going to love him. He's going to, even though he's a heel, people are going to love him, and he's going to get behind the mic and establish whatever fucking feud he wants to, because he's Kevin Owens and he's at that point in his career and he's that damn good. But I think that we're going to see Ezekiel go over. I don't really, have much as far as describing this story, because what it boils down to is Kevin Owens does not believe Ezekiel is Ezekiel. He thinks that it's Elias, which it is, just with a shaved beard. But Elias buried his own self in a vignette months ago and has now returned as Ezekiel. What do you think about this one?
Another one that I feel like can go either way, honestly. Because, as you were saying, I feel like they are building up Ezekiel, and it's like Kevin Owens doesn't really matter. He can take a loss here, and it doesn't really affect his character that much. For the main reasoning is he's just so good at everything he does. And I've said this before. I really like Kevin Owens as a character, as a heel. I think he's phenomenal on the microphone, and he's so funny, man. He's been keeping this whole story alive, and everything that he does, no matter what he touches, I feel like he makes it gold. Like, at first, I wasn't interested in this at all, honestly, because it's like I don't see where this can go after this whole segment with Kevin Owens. I feel like the next person going to come out and start calling him a liar, and it's like we've just seen this for 2-3 months now. We don't need to keep seeing people try to call him out saying he's a liar. But you know what? The whole time I was going to go with Ezekiel, but I'm going to change it at the last second. So we don't have, I think we've all had the same pick so far. So I'm going to go with Kevin Owens, and I'm going to say interference by Alpha Academy. Maybe they get involved somehow, and Kevin Owens ends up hitting them with a stunner and goes over. And I think Kevin Owens needs a win. He had the match at WrestleMania, which everyone's saying it's a fall from grace, having the match with Stone Cold Steve Austin, one of the best of all time, in my opinion. And I wasn't even alive during the Attitude Era, but I still went back and watched all of it because, my grandpa told me how good he was and how phenomenal he was on the mic and just everything he does. So the fact that Kevin Owens got to work with him is incredible. And I wasn't mad at all the fact that he took a loss to Stone Cold, but it's like, come on, man, we can get Kevin Owens to have a win here, I feel like.
All right, what's your confidence on Kevin Owens here?
My confidence level on Kevin Owens is sitting at a 3.
All right. And now I was sitting here thinking about this, didn't write down what I thought would happen yet or my confidence or anything. I said I felt like Ezekiel would go over. I'm thinking about it. I still think Ezekiel's probably going to go over, but I'm thinking about Chad Gable and Otis and thinking about KO and could there be interference? I honestly think that there should be. If there's not, there should be, because it's a way to get them on the show and make this match more interesting. And it's, the whole time that they've done all this, they've involved Gable and Otis. And that's why I'm also going to pick KO. He's going to win by some sort of distraction, which ends up getting him to be able to defeat Ezekiel. It protects him a little bit by getting the win by Kevin Owens cheating or winning by distraction or whatever it is, whatever heel move it is that he pulled to win this one. And I think that KO wins this match, but it protects Ezekiel. And my confidence on the match is going to be a 3. So I said Cody was a 3. I'm moving that up to a 4. And my confidence is a 3 for Ezekiel. I'm calling interference on Alpha Academy. You have anything else on this one?
As we were just, as I was just thinking, actually, we could even see maybe after Alpha Academy comes out, maybe the Mysterios come out and try to back up Ezekiel, and then maybe he somehow gets the win. It's one of them things, man. That's like, I've been torn between this one too. It's like this card is actually really good because I'm having trouble predicting what's going to happen. I like when it's like that. I don't like the ones that I'm going into thinking, this is a cakewalk. This person's going to win. This person's definitely going to win. This person's definitely going to win. I like having the back and forth thinking in my head, going between the two sides of like weighing out each option on why this person could win or why this person should win. But I'm still stick with Kevin Owens. But it was just an option I just wanted to throw out there that maybe the Mysterios get involved, trying to back Ezekiel up and get them on the show as well.
Yeah, it is interesting that all of a sudden the Mysterios were involved in it. On KO's side, the 6-man match on Monday. A lot of times they do these 6-man matches, on the Raws and Smackdowns leading into pay-per-views for people that aren't going to be on it to give them a chance to do something. But at the same time, man, like, what happened to Veer feuding with the Mysterios? I thought that was who they had the beef with, and that just kind of went away for at least the week. And to add to what you said, if the Mysterios are going to come out and mess with Alpha Academy, how about Veer comes out and messes with them, and it becomes an entire freaking chaotic mess, which is quite honestly what it should be, because the match itself, there's really nothing there, man. It's, you got a very generic worker in Ezekiel, and you got, a guy who has really good in-ring work. He just glides around the ring in Kevin Owens. So, it can be a great match, but at the end of the day, I just don't see the value in having Ezekiel win this. It's not going to help Kevin Owens at all to win, like as far as elevating him, but it will sort of help the whole situation of, you're a liar and I got these other heels on my side that think you're a liar too. And, Chad Gable comes out with maybe his, fixed DNA test results. And I don't know, I'm getting a little bit out there with that one, but I just think that the Alpha Academy definitely can interfere here. And I just think KO is going to go over somehow in some way that protects Ezekiel, even if it's a freaking schoolboy roll up. They're going to do something to protect Ezekiel, but they're not going to beat Kevin Owens. And that's about all I got to say about that. You got anything else on this one?
Nah, we touched on everything. I feel like we just weighed out every option possible.
Yeah, I think so. So, yeah, Ezekiel with a pin was what Kyle went with. He had 2 confidence points on that one. We're both picking KO here with 3 confidence points. And that brings us up to our last match. We just found out about it last night. No holds barred. Madcap Moss in his new gear with the black trunks. Looks nice. I'm pretty sure a couple weeks ago when it was actually at the Smackdown I was at when he got his ass beat and sent into the ambulance. And somebody was like, well, what would you change his uniform to? What would you change his gear to? And I was like, maybe like black boy shorts, sort of, and black boots, and, tie the ponytail back and cut out the jokes. And he comes back in black boy shorts and boots, and he looks exactly like I thought so. And it just cracked me up, man. because I was just like spitballing, maybe he could come back this way instead of the suspenders. And, the person I was talking to was saying, the suspenders and all that stuff's part of his character. So, that's what you identify with him. But now we're going to be identifying ourselves with a different side of Madcap Moss that he wants to bring to the table here. And it seems like it's going to be a pretty vicious one, especially when he's fighting a guy like Corbin, who just sent him to the hospital and caused him to knock the sense into himself and bury his other character. Like I said, I like the change, and I think that this match is all about putting over Madcap Moss in his new character iteration. And, we've seen these two in a match last pay-per-view, Moss and Corbin. Moss ended up winning with the sunset flip roll-up. So, of course, we could see Corbin take his win back here. But I think now we have a different side of Madcap Moss. We have weapons involved now. I think that we're going to see Madcap Moss win this one. And so I'm not sure exactly where I'm going with it. I'm still thinking, racking my brain. I'm going to let you say your pick while I think.
Now, quick question. Are you secretly working for WWE? Because I actually remember you saying that now, come to think of it, about the whole boy short thing and all that. And like you described it perfectly, I guess. I think it was a few weeks ago you were talking about that. But
no, yeah, I'm not working for him.
Are you sure?
I would not be sitting here at 12:30 at night doing a podcast.
I just had to ask the question, but this whole feud, at first I was like not really into it with the whole happy talk segments and all that bullshit, because I can leave that out when I'm watching SmackDown. I don't really like it. But, I like Corbin, though. I like his moveset. Mostly the end of days, I like that move, how it looks, how the finisher is taken. But, yeah, this is a different Madcap. This isn't going to be the guy that's going to win off a fucking roll-up. He's going to go and it's going to be a brawl, I feel like, between them, especially in this type of match. No holds barred. It's going to be a brawl. And I got Madcap winning here. I don't see the purpose of having Corbin go over here. I know that Madcap did win at the last premium live event, and I can see why people might be thinking Corbin could get the win here, but I just don't see it happening. So with that being said, this is a different side of Madcap, like I was saying, and I think he's going to go over here, and my confidence level for this one's going to be a 4.
All right, so you got Madcap going over with a 4. Do we see Madcap hit a finisher like his punchline, or do you think it's just going to be a beating of weapons and whatever?
I feel like he's going to beat him down with the weapons and eventually hit the finisher, and then that'll be the end of the match.
Interference?
I don't know. A clean finish. I think he's going to beat him down and then end up getting the finish on him, and that'll be the end of the match. So that's what I got to say about that.
All right, so you got Madcap going with a clean win, beating him down with some weapons. Anybody go through a table in this match, you think?
Oh, I think it's possible. I think it's very possible. Maybe the announce table?
Yeah, I think that's definitely possible here. Unless Cody and Seth get out of the cell and do something with the announce table. I think that this is the only match where the announce table could get involved. Now, do you think this match will be on the actual live event, or do you think it'll be on the pre-show? We haven't seen a pre-show match, I think, since Elimination Chamber. Do you think we'll get a pre-show match, or do you think they're going to squeeze 7 matches into this show?
I think they're going to squeeze 7 matches into it.
Yeah, I do too. I think they're using...
Or maybe if we get a pre-show match, it'll be like Kevin Owens and Ezekiel, or, maybe that could be the pre-show match, but I think it's going to be all 7 on the show.
Yeah, I think all 7 on the show too. I think that, they don't want to waste as much time in between matches for the live crowd. That was something I heard that they, had issues with last time. It wasn't something highly publicized, but they definitely, need to speed things up for live crowds. I've been to these live events and you just see video package after person come out for their entrance to wait in the ring for 10 minutes and then see a commercial on the screen and then another thing. And it's like, come on, man. just have the damn matches. So, I think that they'll put all 7 in this one just to sort of use their pre-show as what it is, a pre-show, and use it for advertising and hyping up the matches. I don't think they're going to put the match on the pre-show. I thought if anything they were going to put Gunther and Ricochet on the pre-show or something like that, but not going to happen. And Rousey and Natalia, I assume, is happening next week or the week after. So, there's some matches that they could have added to this, but they didn't. So, be that as it may, that's the card we got. We'll run through our predictions real quick one more time before I ask you a trivia question. And before the trivia question, we'll wrap a little bit before that too. But for Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, I went with Cody Rhodes, confidence of 4 points. You went with Cody Rhodes, confidence of 6. And we had Kyle going with confidence of 5. For Bianca Belair and Asuka, we all went with Bianca Belair pinning. You went with Bianca Belair pinning Asuka. I went with pinning Asuka. And Kyle went with pinning Becky. He had 6 points. I had 7. You had 7. For Theory and Ali, we both picked Theory. You had 5. I had 6. And Kyle also picked Theory, went with 1. Lashley versus Omas and MVP. Kyle had 4 confidence points in Bobby winning, while you and I both had 2. Actually, I had 1 for this one, not 2. And then for the Judgment Day match, you had Judgment Day with the confidence points of 1. I had Judgment Day with the confidence point of 5. And then we had Judgment Day confidence points of 7 for Kyle, KO, and Ezekiel. We had Kyle choosing Ezekiel to win with a pin and 2 confidence points. I went with KO and 3, and you went with KO and 3 confidence points. Then we have Madcap Moss and Corbin. Kyle went with Madcap Moss 3 points. I went with Madcap Moss 2 points, and you went with Madcap Moss 4 points. So that's all we got for our predictions of the show. Now, what else do you have that may happen on this show in your mind based on what you hear in the grapevine, what you've seen, what you feel? Anything else interesting about Hell in a Cell that you see happening?
Well, I've just been seeing all this speculation, and Twitter's been going crazy about the whole maybe we could see Bray Wyatt come back. And I would love it in every aspect, him being from my hometown here in Florida. I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan. Met him a few times. He's a great guy. I really like his personality, not in and outside the ring, and his character is just brilliant, man. He's a mastermind when it comes to that shit. And I really like Bray Wyatt. And if he does come back, it'll be great for the company. I think, having another big top star again that, the fans are so intrigued by, and the fans are so, no matter what, when he is the Fiend character, the fans still love him, man. It's crazy, but I just want to go with a few little things I've seen on Twitter. And first he ended up changing his name back to Bray Wyatt on Twitter. Then he changed it to, now it is Wyatt 6, which, if I'm not mistaken, would WWE own intellectual property rights to that name? I'm not too sure. Maybe you know the answer. But then on top of that, if you zoom in on his profile picture, it's an upside down butterfly. And inside of the butterfly's face, it's a picture of the Fiend mask, which it looks like it's a little scribbled so that he could maybe be not owning it, or he could be not condoning it. I'm not really sure. He could be embracing it or not in that aspect, but a lot of his tweets, he tweeted patient. It's almost time. And I've just been seeing a lot of things and hearing a lot of things about that. And I think it would just be a really cool thing if we see maybe at the end of the Cody and Seth match, which I hope is going to be the main event, Cell's lifting up, the lights go out, and he has Cody Rhodes set up for Sister Abigail. I think that would be pretty sick to have that as the Cody Rhodes next feud.
You're saying set Cody up in the Sister Abigail?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would actually be an outstanding, amazing way to move Cody into another feud with a heel who can generate serious heat and be creative the way that Cody wants to be creative. That's all what Wyndham Rotunda's about, is creativity. If WWE's going to give him the opportunity to be creative, he's going to come back and do it. And maybe they've come to that point. I don't know. All this social media, this cryptic stuff, I'll be honest with you, I haven't been paying attention as much to really anything lately, just because I've been so busy with my day job, which isn't working for WWE, in case anybody was wondering. But as far as Bray Wyatt's concerned, I've read some things, heard some things, and I do think that it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could make a return to WWE. Don't know if it'll be this weekend, but it would definitely be exciting, and it would definitely be something that would, make sense, and it would push forward a guy that they're trying to push in Cody. And, it would be a great feud because we'd have Cody Rhodes in it and we'd have Bray Wyatt in it. And say what you want about Bray Wyatt, he's, as you said, a terrific dude. He's a good worker and he's a creative son of a bitch. And he's going to make something really great if you give him the opportunity to create it. And so if they bring him back, I'd be totally on board with it. Other than that, you got anything else?
Yeah, just one more thing. And I feel like it'll be a good pairing between the two because how over Cody Rhodes is right now with the fans and everything like that. Having a guy like Bray Wyatt, Seth Rollins creates that heat so easy because he's a talker, he's obnoxious, he thinks he's the best at this and that. So it's like he comes out there, he does the obnoxious laugh and all that stuff. But it's like when you have a guy like Bray Wyatt who's going to be out there as the Fiend character, but then also with the whole Firefly Funhouse shit, which I think is amazing, by the way. But besides that, it's going to really make the fans like decipher on. They don't always cheer for the good guys, and we've seen that a lot of times lately with Roman Reigns. He's getting a lot of cheers as being a heel. I think that Bray Wyatt could go out there and get more cheers than Cody Rhodes if they aren't careful with setting it up wise, and he has to come out there and create a lot of heat right away. And maybe take some jabs at the whole AEW scene and stuff like that. But if they want to generate some talk back to WWE, especially after AEW had a really big talking week with the whole MJF shit, then this would be a great way to counter that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, like we've seen WWE do this with the, trying to counter certain things that AEW does with the promos. We saw them like basically cut the same promo that Punk cut, back in, I don't remember, it was back in the winter time, but they basically had the Miz and Edge back in January cut like this promo against each other. It was real, like kind of, real life type of shit. They were talking to each other, and it was right after Punk cut a promo, like hardcore real life style on AEW. But the Miz is as good as a heel as he is, and Edge aren't going to create something like Punk did. But yeah, I see where you're going with that, and I like the idea of Bray Wyatt coming back. Now it's just something that I don't know enough about to say one way or the other whether I think it's going to happen. You know what I mean? You've gone to the same gym as him. You would know better than me, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would think. I haven't seen him in a while, though, honestly. That's why I think he might have moved a little farther south from here. But
yeah. But yeah, man, that's what we got here. We're, I got my title on the line. I'm a little bit nervous because there's a couple we got a lot of the same picks, but there's a couple matches where I don't like my confidence points. And as soon as we close this show, I got to lock it in. Like, I definitely think Cody's going to win. I only got 4 points on that one. Geez, I'm trying to think of where I can switch some shit around. I definitely think Moss is going to win. I only got 2 points on it. I got Theory winning with 6 points. Maybe I should switch that one. But then you're going to have 5 points on. You know what I mean? This is tough.
Yeah, it's been a good. I feel like it's been a good battle. More ways that things could go than the last pay-per-view, which I'm not gonna lie, I sucked at. If anyone didn't know, I only got 3 right.
I think Kyle and I either had 4 or 5, but we ended up having the same confidence points. And which reminds me, what's your bell to bell time if we end all up with the same confidence points for the main event? Well, actually, the hell with it being the main event. Bell to bell time for Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins.
I'm going to say they go 24 minutes.
24 minutes flat?
You put me at 24:36.
All right, I'm going to go 19:47. All right, that's my guess. I don't know. So hopefully it doesn't come to that. But so ready for trivia?
Let's do the damn thing.
All right. All right, Chris. Who was the first WWE superstar to win consecutive Royal Rumble matches? And I'll clarify that by saying 30-man Royal Rumble matches.
Was it Shawn Michaels?
Correct. Shawn Michaels.
And then Austin did it, and now Bianca Belair has done it.
Yeah, Austin has done it. There's actually quite a few. 8 people have done it, and a couple people did it in Royal Rumbles that weren't 30-man Royal. Like Hulk Hogan won like an 8-man Royal Rumble.
Okay.
That kind of Royal Rumble's that. But and then one like the regular one after that. But yeah, Shawn Michaels in 95 and 96 was on. So you got that one right. Good job. Got your mid-90s WWE knowledge down. But I think that's all we got for tonight, Chris. Remember to like us wherever you subscribe to your podcast. Leave a 5-star rating or review if you could. And follow us on social media at Beyond Matt WWE. Shoot us an email, matt@beyondthemat.com. Anything you'd like to say to the guests before we go, Chris?
Yeah, I just want to say, write in and leave some questions for us so we can answer them on What Matters. New episode's going to be dropping pretty soon, I hope. So besides that, Dr. BGB signing off.
All right, Chris, take it easy. Thank you for being with me tonight. Thanks all to you listeners for joining us. We thoroughly enjoy you. Remember that we have a Patreon. $1 is the lowest tier, and we will give you the benefits of the other tiers if you join the $1 tier before the end of July. And that involves merchandise and guest spots on our show. Till next time, Beyond Matt signing off. Have a fun Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and I'll join you for the recap of it.
I think I'm going to go to the nearest nudie bar and have a drink.
Thanks for listening to Beyond the Mat. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss a show.